Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A vague idea in which some confidence is placed. An odd or fanciful or capricious idea. The theatrical notion of disguise is associated with disaster in his stories. A general inclusive concept. Usually plural, small personal articles or clothing or sewing items. Buttons and needles or notions. A vague idea in which some confidence is placed. It strengthened my belief in his sincerity. Any cognitive content held as true. The general atmosphere of a place or situation and the effect that it has on people. An intuitive understanding of something. He had a great feeling for music. A vague idea in which some confidence is placed. What are your feelings about the crisis? The sensation produced by pressure receptors in the skin. The surface had a greasy feeling. A physical sensation that you experience. He had a queasy feeling. The experiencing of affective and emotional states. She had a feeling of euphoria. A concavity in a surface produced by pressing. He left the impression of his fingers in the soft mud. A symbol that is the result of printing or engraving. An outward appearance. He made a good impression. A clear and telling mental image. The events left a permanent impression in his mind. All the copies of a work printed at one time. A vague idea in which some confidence is placed. His impression of her was favorable. An impressionistic portrayal of a person. He did a funny impression of a politician. Dentistry, an imprint of the teeth and gums in wax or plaster. The dentist took an impression for use in preparing an inlay. The act of pressing one thing on or into the surface of another. He watched the impression of the seal on the hot wax. The reason for a court's judgment, as opposed to the decision itself. The legal document stating the reasons for a judicial decision. Opinions are usually written by a single judge. A personal belief or judgment that is not founded on proof or certainty. My opinion differs from yours. A message expressing a belief about something. The expression of a belief that is held with confidence but not substantiated by positive knowledge or proof. His opinions appeared frequently on the editorial page. A belief or sentiment shared by most people. The voice of the people. He asked for a poll of public opinion. A vague idea in which some confidence is placed. A sudden desire. An odd or fanciful or capricious idea. He had a whimsy about flying to the moon. The trait of acting unpredictably and more from whim or caprice than from reason or judgment. An odd or fanciful or capricious idea. The trait of acting unpredictably and more from whim or caprice than from reason or judgment. An odd or fanciful or capricious idea. He had a whimsy about flying to the moon. A personal belief or judgment that is not founded on proof or certainty. What are your thoughts on Haiti? The content of cognition. The main thing you are thinking about. The thought never entered my mind. The process of using your mind to consider something carefully. She paused for thought. The organized beliefs of a period or group or individual. 19th century thought. Music, melodic subject of a musical composition. The accompanist picked up the idea and elaborated it. An approximate calculation of quantity or degree or worth. A rough idea how long it would take. The content of cognition, the main thing you are thinking about. It was not a good idea. Your intention, what you intend to do. The idea of the game is to capture all the pieces. A personal view. He has an idea that we don't like him. An abstract or general idea inferred or derived from specific instances. The event that occurred at the beginning of something. The creation of something in the mind. An abstract or general idea inferred or derived from specific instances. The act of becoming pregnant. Fertilization of an ovum by a spermatozoan. Make by combining materials and parts. Some eccentric constructed an electric brazier warmer. An abstract or general idea inferred or derived from specific instances. Reassemble mentally. Reconstruct the events of 20 years ago. Put together out of artificial or natural components or parts. Create by linking linguistic units. Construct a sentence. Create by organizing and linking ideas, arguments, or concepts. Construct a proof. Draw with suitable instruments and under specified conditions. Construct an equilateral triangle. A separate section of a legal document, as a statute or contract or will. Bind by a contract, especially for a training period. Grammar. A determiner that may indicate the specificity of reference of a noun phrase. Non-fictional prose forming an independent part of a publication. One of a class of artifacts. An article of clothing. A phenomenon that follows and is caused by some previous phenomenon. The magnetic effect was greater when the rod was lengthwise. Of a law, having legal validity. The law is still in effect. Produce. The central meaning or theme of a speech or literary work. An outward appearance. She retained that bold effect in her reproductions of the original painting. Act so as to bring into existence. Effect a change. An impression, especially one that is artificial or contrived. He just did it for effect. A symptom caused by an illness or a drug. The effects of sleep loss. An impression that something might be the case. He had an intuition that something had gone wrong. Instinctive knowing, without the use of rational processes. At the first glimpse or impression. At first blush the idea possesses considerable intuitive appeal, but on closer examination it fails. The immediate proximity of someone or something. She blushed in his presence. Dignified manner or conduct. An invisible spiritual being felt to be nearby. The act of being present. The impression that something is present. He felt the presence of an evil force. The state of being present, current existence. He tested for the presence of radon. An impression that something might be the case. Round one's back by bending forward and drawing the shoulders forward. The act of bending yourself into a humped position. An impression that something might be the case. Being of a suspicious nature. Doubt about someone's honesty. The state of being suspected. He tried to shield me from suspicion. A traditional notion that is obstinately held although it is unreasonable. He still holds to the old mumpsimus that a woman's place is in the kitchen. An award for winning a championship or commemorating some other event. Any long object resembling a thin line. A mere ribbon of land. A long strip of inked material for making characters on paper with a typewriter. Notion consisting of a narrow strip of fine material used for trimming.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.